Hey Bubble family, welcome back to the channel. So in today's video I am delving, got hair in my mouth, delving into Tom Bower's book. I know that probably many of you are frustrated, probably sick and tired of it. I probably should have done this in the beginning because I'm a bit worried that now people are going to be so exhausted by this book, especially because my poor friend Trevor has ditched it. He's had enough. He's in his own words, it's too toxic, don't want to do it. And I don't blame him, because obviously reading this, oh for goodness sake, get a hair out my mouth. It is actually, it's one of Arthur's hairs. I blame him this time. It is heavy going, and I suppose for me, I'm used to this because obviously I work with clients. I work with dairy. I work with dairy. No, I don't. How did it go from very to dairy? I work with dairy clients. No, I don't. I work... I'm not even sure what I was going to say, to be fair. I'm sure it was but very deep-rooted issues. That's what I was going to say. For some reason, dairy popped into my head. So yeah, so that, so I can absolutely understand that this is hard going. So what I would say to you guys, if you are reading this book, or if you are listening to people, that are talking about this, like, even with regards to myself, step away. Because if you're feeling yourself getting a reaction, because even I was kind of feeling it reading this book, but if you're feeling yourself reacting to the book, reacting to people talking about it, step away. And you can use it as a perfect tool to learn about yourself. So for example, if something's coming up for you, if you're feeling angry, then step away and kind of go, why am I feeling angry about this? What is it about what is being said that is creating you to feel that way? Is it because you can relate to it in some way? For example, if you've experienced narcissistic behavior in whether it be family, friends, relationship, and it's bringing something up for you, this is not about you damaging or re-traumatizing yourself. So if you are struggling, step back, analyze. If you want to, you don't have to. You can literally do what Trev's done and throw the book in the bin. I wouldn't suggest you throw your technology in the bin if you're watching this, because that could prove to be expensive, but certainly, like I say, utilize it. This is a chance for you to be learning about yourself. So if something's coming up, kind of go, okay, why? And it just could be the injustice of it all, because I certainly feel that's what's coming up for me. It's this kind of how this woman has got away with what she's got away with, and I'm going to put Harry in there as well. How Harry has just been so privileged, and this whinging and whining that he does over, life isn't fair type aspect is just unbelievable. I'm not saying that, like when I talked about in the UN, that I didn't feel some sympathy for him watching that body language, but his behavior that towards his family, not so much. So, yeah, like I say, just honestly, what's going on? Step away from it. It's this book, these videos even are certainly not worth affecting your mental health over. What else? Is there anything else? Anything else? Just trying to think if there's anything else in my waffle. I will mention in today's video, the lip gloss I am wearing is from Elf. It's called Lip Plumping Gloss Brilliant, and it's a shade Lady Dame. Lady Dame. And it's nice because actually, even though it looks quite dark, it's not. I mean, I think you know, because you could put, like I do, like have a tiny amount on. And you could probably apply more layers to make it darker if you so choose. But it's not an expensive brand. And it's got a little bit of glitter in it, which I love. I love sparkle. I love sparkle. So, if you don't know by now, you should grab your drink of choice, whatever that is, whether it be tea, whether it be coffee, whether it be an iced coffee, because we're still experiencing, albeit cooler, some warmer weather. Make sure that you please are hydrated. Make sure that you are bringing in those electrolytes if you are sweating. No, ladies, we don't sweat, we perspire. Rose petals. So yes, if you're perspiring, make sure you replace those electrolytes. Today I am drinking, and I'm not sponsored, but I do like it, Fever Tree. It's a new one, it's a limited edition. It's passion fruit and lime tonic water. Now, it's low calorie, I'm trying to watch the calories. Now I will say, one of the reasons why I do enjoy tonic water is because it has quinine in it. And if any of you struggle with cramp, restless leg, you know, that kind of really horrible deep rooted, well, you know, like just, well, yeah, it's cramp. This is very, very good. For some reason, don't know why, but quinine really helps. And I drink this at nighttime, and it really does help the achiness in my condition. So yeah, highly recommend. And most of these do have quinine in it, tonic water, but I will say stay away from anything that's got aspartame in it. A lot of the low calorie ones have aspartame in it. This doesn't, because it's not good for you. So yes, so like I say, grab that drink of choice. And if you would like to add a splash of gin to this Fever Tree tonic water, you know, I have just bought myself, I think I even said this yesterday, a raspberry vodka, but I've also found a really nice rhubarb gin. So if you wanted to add that to it, you absolutely could, because like I say, it is 5 o'clock somewhere. So grab your drink and let's dive right in. So, bubbles, here we go. Chapter 1. Now, I'm not sure how I'm going to do this. I don't know if I'm going to do this by chapter, in which case, depending on how long the video is, it's either going to be quite long or quite short, in which case I might do more than one a day, depending if I have time, or if there's not a lot in a particular chapter, I might bunch a few together. Let's just see how we go. So I'm obviously not going to read this word for word because that's copyright and I will get in trouble. But chapter 1 is about Thomas. Now, from what I can gather here at the minute, at reading this, because obviously what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the reading between the lines here as well. So from what Thomas has said, it was love at first sight when he met his daughter. This is what he says. So when she was born on the 4th of August, which I feel very upset by because I didn't even realise this, that is my mother's birthday. Very upsetting. And it does say 1981 here at West Park Hospital in Canoga Park, Los Angeles. Now, I'm guessing maybe, I don't know if the hospital records go that far back, but maybe this could be researched to see if this is actually true, because obviously there is a lot of discrepancy on Meghan's birthday and how old she is. So it says 1981, 4th of August, she was born. So that's West Park Hospital in Canoga Park, Los Angeles. So, like I say, if you can research this, do it to see if this is actually true or not. Doria at the time was 24 years old, so very young. And by all accounts, oh, by the way, I will say Meghan, because obviously she was born Rachel Meghan Markle. Doria wanted Meghan, Thomas didn't. He preferred Meghan, and that's kind of how she then was named. But Meghan means brave warrior. None of that's true. And in Welsh, it means pearl. So I think right there is confirmation that we all knew that Pearl, that ridiculous Netflix thing, was going to be about Meghan Markle, even though she was kind of pertaining it to be just some random girl. Well, I think this pretty much concludes why she was going to call it Pearl, because it was going to be about her. Everything's about her. So it says here she became his whole world, his little princess. And here we have it. Any sign of her displeasure, even as a baby, would be instantly placated by gifts and worshipped. Their daughter would be endlessly reassured that she was special. Now, there's nothing wrong with wanting your child to feel special, but I think here where it says any sign of her displeasure would be instantly placated by gifts. What this does, it sends a message to anyone, any child even, that if I do this, I will get this. So for example, if I cry, if I complain, even as a baby, if I scream, cry, act out, if they get positive reinforcement, now this could be cuddles, there's nothing wrong with that, but if it's placated with toys or things like that, then immediately this sends a message to the child that if I do this type of behavior, I get rewarded. So I'm going to continue that. So this is kind of how this, like I say, set the precedent for Meghan's behavior. Now, it seems that Thomas and Doria, they met in 1977. Doria was 21 and she was a trainee makeup artist. Now, it seems to me, from what I can gather, she floated around. She didn't really do much. And she, I think, latched on. And now I am going to be doing my deep dive into Doria, so I'm not going to talk too much about that here. But I think she completely latched on to Thomas because he was very stable. He had a great income. And I think she saw an opportunity and grabbed it. Now, at the time, Thomas was bringing up his two children, Tom Jr. and Samantha. So he was a single dad. Props to him for being a single parent. I have a lot of respect for parents, but I also have a lot of respect for single parents. Apparently, Doria found the setup challenging. No surprise there. You know, very similar to Certain Someone. But Tom Jr. and Samantha recalled their initial childhood was actually okay. It was pretty much okay as a family. Thomas openly says that when he married Doria and she became pregnant, somebody said, and I want you to remember this, somebody said, "What colour will your baby be?" Now, I'm not saying that some conversation didn't happen down the line. Say Camilla said, "Oh, imagine having a ginger afro." But I think right here, this is what Meghan's done. I think what I'm noticing in this book is that Meghan seems to have taken Doria's experiences and made them her own. So I think where she said that someone commented on the colour of the baby, I think this was what happened to Thomas and Doria. I think this story was reiterated to them, and she took this. Meghan was plagiarizing right from the beginning, taking someone else's experience and making it her own. So I think this is exactly what she did. I think this comment happened, but it didn't happen to her. It happened to Doria. And apparently Thomas said this was very common. He said in mixed race marriages, their child's colour became an issue of self-identity for the parents. And the issue is discussed before birth. So this is very common. And I have seen this with a lot of people that have spoken about this and said, you know, this is just kind of normal. This was what we did. You know, people just discuss this type of stuff. There wasn't any malice, any kind of racism. It was just a conversation. But I think Meghan, like she always has done, has twisted things to create it to be for her agenda. So basically they lived together, but Thomas says from very early on, Doria lived in her own world. But from what I can see is Thomas went along with everything she wanted. So he kind of adopted the same principality as Megan. Anything his wife wanted, you know, he loved her, so he was gonna make her happy. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. You know, in fact, I applaud a man that really wants to make his wife happy and make everything okay for her. But unfortunately, he let her get away with things. So they lived in a white middle-class residential area, and Megan's birth recorded a happy family. There were many things where they were sitting at the table with food cooked by Doria. Thomas held Megan, surrounded by Tom Jr. and Samantha. But however, the happiness was short-lived because Thomas then began working 18-hour shifts. So cracks in the relationship with Doria began to happen, which is understandable given the fact that A, he met Doria very, very young. B, that she didn't know how to be domesticated. She was quite a free-spirited person. So this whole domesticated, settling down kind of life for her wasn't suitable. So I think this is exactly why the cracks were starting to show. And then he's working long hours, he's providing for 3 children, a wife, you know, so this guy's working hard, and he likes his career. And then amongst all that, apparently Doria helped her father sell bric-a-brac. Then she moved around California trying to be a travel agent, interestingly. So she's already adopting this before she sets up this travel agency that she gets Thomas to set up for her. So then she's finally a clothing designer, an importer, and finding a clothing design before finding a permanent job with Thomas. Thomas said she was employed by a boyfriend to prune marijuana plants. So after stripping the lenses, after stripping the leaves and stems, her boyfriend supplied customers across Los Angeles. Apparently this is very common. As Thomas ruefully recalled, everyone in Hollywood at that time, including himself, was smoking and taking drugs, not just at home, but also in restaurants and even at the Academy Awards. So, you can start to see that this is kind of what's going on. It's like there's, there was a lot of smoking marijuana around that time. And it seems that also Tom Jr. was smoking this at home. Obviously he was young. Doria smoked. So you've got the signs of a dysfunctional family. You've got Thomas who's going out to work. You've got Tom Jr. who is, smoking cannabis. And then Doria's then at home smoking cannabis. It's like, where's the stability here? Like I say, I'm certainly not excusing any of Megan's behavior later on, but this, you can kind of see this real instability with the fact that Doria was just not a very good mother. And I will say, obviously this is just a one person account, because obviously we haven't got Doria's account, but that's all we can go on. So it seems that Doria built a rapport with Thomas Jr., but not with Samantha. And this was also, I think, because they connected because of drugs. They were both smoking marijuana together, whereas Samantha didn't do that. So I think that's, unfortunately, that's quite common in that type of thing. And I think Doria's refusal to grow up meant that she probably had more, she latched on to Thomas because of that familiarity with him. So she didn't get on with Samantha by all accounts. And apparently the recollections of the fact Thomas was saying that Doria was also sleeping with other men, and Samantha actually said to him, "You are being used by Doria." So you can now see that Megan today is to be honest, very similar to her mother. This kind of crossing over in relationships, using people, it's all there. It's all there in the beginning of how Meghan Markle really does adopt a similar pattern to her mother. So here it says Thomas's version is Doria's fondness for marijuana, her sex life, and her antagonism towards Samantha, who had just been diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, ended the marriage. And for Samantha, as much as whether it's not that I don't like Samantha. I think there are some things that I don't think she's handled very well, but I will say that I do feel sad for her, because this, she's growing up with this she sees Megan getting thoroughly spoiled, Doria getting thoroughly spoiled, and then as a bit of a raw deal, she then gets diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, and you know that must have been very challenging for her. You know, and it doesn't delve too much into that. It says the amicable settlement negotiated by one lawyer split Thomas's limited savings. So you know, here we have Doria already getting set up financially. So she's kind of coming off better off than what she was before. The couple also agreed that in exchange for no alimony, Thomas would always support Megan. Well, that's okay. It says daughter, so he should. The absence of any rancour was inspired by Thomas's delight to have a young daughter. Until then, his domestic life had been troubled. And then it kind of goes into a bit about Thomas's parentage. It seems that Thomas grew up in a relatively normal kind of household. His father wasn't particularly great, but by the looks of it, his mother was very encouraging, and she, you know, kind of really, yeah, she really encouraged them to kind of get out and about, go fishing, picking food in the fields and the woods, and encouraged them to have a good education. So living in Santa Monica and earning a good income from lighting at ABC, Thomas heard that his two children were struggling. So this is why they then went to go and live with him. And like I say, props to the fact that he's taken them on. Now, Doria's great-great-grandfather was an enslaved person of William Ragland in Jonesboro, Georgia, on emancipation from 6th generation of slavery. Megan would later claim he named himself Wisdom. However, evidence shows that he remained Ragland. So I think here we have again, from early on, Megan's kind of ability to just lie when there's no need to lie. It's like to kind of really embellish on a story when there's not really any need to. So it seems that Doria's dissatisfaction of her life with Thomas Markle coincided with Alvin, her father, abandoning Jeanette for a teacher called Ava Burrows. They later married, Doria said, agreeing with Jeanette, her mother, and saying that life was hard. So I wonder then if this was kind of why sort of Doria has this kind of issue in regards to commitment. It kind of would explain a lot in my opinion. So after this, then Doria then took 2-year-old Megan to live with her mother, whilst Thomas moved into a large converted barn on Vista Del Mar Avenue, a stylish neighbourhood close to Hollywood Boulevard. Later accounts that Tom was plagued by money troubles from the time Megan was a small child, so a story that was apparently concocted, and this had contributed to, which is what Megan said, her parents' breakup. This was actually untrue. Thomas was actually still earning quite a good income at this point. Now, shortly after her parents' separation, Megan was enrolled by Thomas in the Little Red Schoolhouse, and I've done a video on that one. And this was a favoured creche among Hollywood celebrity parents, located near the ABC studios and Doria's new home. So Megan's parents adopted a fixed routine. On the days when Thomas was working an 18-hour shift, Doria and Jeanette cared for Megan. On the alternate days when Thomas was in meetings to plan future filming, he collected Megan from school and he looked after her every weekend. So moving between her parents and their different ways of life, but Megan seemed a very happy child. Racism did not appear to be a problem, especially at school. Although there were a few black kids in the Hollywood Hills, Thomas Markle insists that race was never mentioned in his conversations with Megan. Doria mentioned one incident where someone in Woodward Hills had mistakenly assumed she was Megan's nanny, but he says, I didn't see any racism in that area. Doria never complained that it was difficult as a black person to live there. Megan did not suggest that her mixed-race parentage or biracial, as she would write, complicated her life. She praised her father for making her feel accepted. Interestingly, that changed over the years about how she then used racism as a means to fuel her agenda and kind of then latch on to Black Lives Matter. It says here about the Barbie dolls, I had been fawning over a box set of Barbie dolls. This is what Megan says. she wrote this. It was called the Hart Family, including a mum doll, a dad doll, and 2 children. This perfect nuclear family was only sold in a set of white dolls or black dolls. On Christmas morning, swathed in glitter-flecked wrapping paper, there I found my Hart family, a black mum doll, a white dad doll, and a child in each colour. My dad had taken the sets apart and customised my family. Well, unsurprisingly, Thomas' recollections vary. And he says, yes, I did give her the dolls at her 4th birthday party in a park with her school friends. Doria and her mother were also there. One mother said, I've never seen a set like that in the store. Until Meghan publicised the gift 30 years later to illustrate her problems with race, Thomas Markle could not recall Meghan ever mentioning the issue. So again, here we have that Meghan has just embellished and changed a story. Recollections may vary on this particular incident. And I think it's important, and I feel this is the truth, because that story also puts Thomas in quite a favourable light. Like, you know, here's this guy, this dad who's really caring about his daughter, and he's changed this up on Christmas morning. How amazing. You know, so to kind of, there's no need to change a story if it's not true. So what he's done is he's kind of said there's an element to the truth here, but actually it wasn't this kind of like glitter spark. I mean, come on. Sparkly glitter wrapping paper, and I opened it up on Christmas morning. Oh, honestly. So, and apparently in 1986, Doria found caring for her 5-year-old daughter too difficult. So already, before anything else, we have Doria who's struggling to raise her daughter. You know, and so interestingly, how suddenly Doria's become this model parent is quite interesting, do you not think? So Meghan either went after school to the home of Nikki Priddy, her friend since 2 years old, or she was collected by Thomas and sat in the TV studio while he worked. Encouraged by Nikki Priddy's parents, the deep relationship between the two girls gave Nikki an insight into her friend. She always wanted to be famous. She loved to be the centre of attention. And that hasn't changed. Growing up on film sets, Notice Priddy made Meghan a bit of a star. We used to imagine her receiving an Oscar. And there, I think, is where what Meghan actually really wanted. I think she wanted to become Hollywood elite. And this is why she's climbed that ladder. And I think she saw Harry as her opportunity to get into Hollywood rather than working hard like a lot of actors and actresses do. She just wanted to skip a few hurdles to get there. And she saw that. And I think that is what bothers her the most, is the fact that she, oh, hello, Arthur. She was not able to secure her Hollywood role of a lifetime. She just got the one where she married a prince and did her role of a lifetime pretending to love him. Oh, sorry, I know that was actually a bit, but it's true, it's true. She has pretended. Samantha's absence from the home confirmed Meghan's impression that she was an only child. Nikki Priddy witnessed the consequence. She was tough. If you rubbed her up the wrong way, she'd make it known with silent treatment, and she would punish you. She's stubborn. She digs her heels in the ground. So there you have. That's the first chapter, chapter 1. Now, no real huge revelations, but I think it really is interesting to see where we see the start of Meghan, kind of the way it was starting to present itself, in how she was completely spoiled. She had a mother who was very disinterested and didn't know how to be a mother. And I think this kind of set the tone. And if you look at Doria's behaviour, it pretty matches Meghan's. And I'm pretty sure as I've read this, I can see a lot more going on. So as always, guys, let me know what you think in the comments. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to subscribe to my channel, that would be amazing, because we are now, Bubbles, at 16.4. We are climbing. So this is amazing. YouTube has woken up again, and now it's roll. I feel like I'm going to jinx myself if I say this, but yeah, we're on our way. We're on our way. So thank you to you guys as always. Thank you for everyone who has become a member. I will be putting the new members at the end of the week. Don't forget that Friday will be my live with Trev at 7 p.m. Thank you to everyone who has bought me a cup of coffee or a cup of tea, actually, because I'm British and I do love my cup of tea. And yeah, and thank you. And I hope you've enjoyed this chapter 1. So I will see you tomorrow in tomorrow's video. So as always, I love you. I appreciate you. And most of all, I respect you. Mwah. Bye, Bubble family.